do that.
Okay.
Ready.
Okay. What made you want to start Muay Thai?
I had done martial arts like my whole life. Like as a kid, I did Kung Fu for like 10 years. And when I moved to New York, I was thinking I had done some like boxing classes, some like kind of basic kickboxing, but I hadn't really found like that martial arts kind of like vibe where you're really learning that I was looking for. And then it was actually my ex-boyfriend introduced me to Muay Thai, which is like kind of a bummer. But I'm glad that I've been able since then to like make it my own, because like when we broke up, I wasn't sure if I was gonna feel like weird, like it wasn't my thing or something like that. But it's made me train even harder and like made me really make it my own like experience, independent of that.
When you started it, did you have a plan in mind about where you wanted to take it, what you wanted to do with it?
When I started, I just wanted to learn. I didn't even want to spar because I didn't really like sparring, and Kung Fu, it like really stressed me out, and it still stresses me out sometimes, but I was like, I'll go, but I'm not gonna spar. And then as I learned more, I was like, oh, I want to try it. And then I was like, okay, I'll spar, but like I'm never gonna fight. And then I started sparring more, and then I was like, okay, now I kind of want to fight. And so at first, I would have never thought I would have fought, but now it feels like natural progression of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have, at the beginning, I didn't have goals at the beginning. It was just to like learn more and just to do it and get better at it.
You've had 2 fights now.
Mm-hmm.
How do they compare to each other? Because one's been in Thailand, one's been back at home.
They were very different in like almost every way. At home, it was very like 5-week fight camp. You're prepared. We're going to tell you every single thing you have to do, and you know, full gear, headgear, shin pads, everything. And here it was just like, yeah, you're gonna fight next week. Figure it out.
With no gear.
With no gear.
8 class rules, everything.
Yeah, and I had only been here for a few days, so I was like, am I ready for that? I just got over jet lag.
Yeah.
But it was fine. It was a good like learning experience, and I'm like proud of how I did in spite of like being kind of like thrown into it, because it was like I was scared, and it shows when I watched the video back, but I'm like glad that I did it in spite of being scared.
How do you handle nerves?
I'm nervous most of the time, so actually I handle it kind of well, because like if you're like a person prone to anxiety in general, you're like always prepared for something to go wrong, so that when you're in that like high stress situation, like I'm actually like pretty good at calming myself down. So I didn't get like super nervous beforehand, but then like as the fight started, I kind of went in strong and then like lost it a little bit. So I was like, out, this hurts.
Yeah.
But I think that next time I could come back a little bit stronger, because now I know what to expect a little bit more.
When you say anxious playing, what do you mean in general?
Yeah, just like everything between. No, like coming to a new gym, like not knowing anybody, like coming here by myself, like this is my first time traveling by myself, and so like that gave me a little bit of anxiety, but I also knew that like this experience was gonna help me like grow as a person and like help that in general. So like I'm trying to like challenge myself in that way also. But yeah, it's just sort of like general overthinking of every possible situation and every yes, definitely in relationships. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, right.
And has training helped your anxiousness or made it worse?
No, it has helped. I feel like I felt like I trained for a few years before I had my first fight, because I knew that I didn't want to fight until I felt like I was like completely ready, and I knew it was going to take me longer than most people maybe. I generally think it takes women a little bit longer to feel like, yeah, I can definitely do this. Like I knew that I wanted to feel 100% confident. I mean, you'll never feel 100% confident, but I knew I wanted to feel like really, really prepared. Otherwise, I would go in there with like some doubt. So I think it has helped a lot, and having my first fight back at home, that helped me be like, oh, like I can do this. And even going through fight camp, like there was a point when we were doing like our hard spar days where we were like sparring 100% during fight camp, and afterwards I like went up to someone and I was like, I'm good at Muay Thai, and they were like, Yeah, and I was like, no, I like just realized like I'm actually doing this and like I deserve to be here or whatever. I remember that my coach, there was like one day where I kind of like broke down during fight camp, was getting frustrated, and I was crying. I cry a lot. My nickname at home is Crybaby, because I used to always cry when I was sparring. And he was like, when I told you were gonna fight, the only person that was surprised was you. And like I think about that a lot because like everyone else was like, great, and I was like, me? You know? So yeah.
So let's talk about you outside of the gym. What type of person are you? What type of relationships do you have? Are you confident?
No.
No, full stop.
No.
That's the answer.
Next question. No, I'm definitely not a confident person by nature, and I think that Muay Thai and like self-defense has helped me a lot. Like I've always had a little bit of a sense of security from doing martial arts growing up. Like I live in New York, and I don't know, sometimes there's like sketchy situations, or like if I'm walking alone at night, like I always feel like okay, and I kind of like take it for granted because some of my friends will be kind of like sketched out or like feel unsafe, and I don't typically get that feeling because I feel like I can protect myself, and I think that that's like a big thing. But yeah, I'm some might say I'm relaxed, but I'm not.
Relaxed.
Yeah, a lot of people actually describe me as like easygoing or relaxed, or like chill. I'm none of those things. I just hide it really well because I've been like this my whole life. I am in a sense like relaxed. Like I'm not like super like rigid, but I think that like, I don't know, as I've gotten older, it's helped me to like relax a little bit more and be less like rigid about like my schedule or the plans or something like that.
So like friends, romantic, work, relationships, like that, has learning Muay Thai had an effect on that?
It's hard to say. I do find it incredibly difficult as someone that's like recently like re-entering the dating world. I could not. Okay, so I was in a relationship for a while, like when I started Muay Thai was because of that. And then since like going back on dating apps, it is an interesting thing to doing Muay Thai or any martial arts. It's like a great way to measure if men are weak or if they're intimidated by you, because like I like to throw it out there kind of early or put a picture of my profile maybe from fighting or something like that.
You show it.
Because I want to know right away if you're going to be intimidated and make it weird, because so many guys are like, oh, so you could kick my ass, or like, oh, do you want to fight? And I'm like, man, this isn't about you, you know? So I actually think it's a good way to like weed people out that are going to be insecure about it.
That's a really good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. And
yeah, it's weird.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, because some people are just, they react weirdly to this kind of thing. Even women too sometimes. They're like, why would you want to get hit in the face? I'm like, I actually don't know. But that's not what it's about.
Try it.
Yeah, it's a good time. So like there's that aspect, and then it's nice like in terms of like friendships and stuff like that. Like I've developed a lot of friendships with people from all over because of Muay Thai, both like training here and training at home, and it's like there's a nice community around it. Like there's always someone you know that knows someone you know, and things like that, which I think is something really nice about it. So
how long have you been doing Muay Thai?
Technically like 4 years, but I would say 3. The first year was just like kind of trying a class here and there. It wasn't really serious. It wasn't until I went to Thailand the first time in January 2020. I went to Muay and a couple places in Phuket for just a short time. And after that, I was like, oh, I really want to take this more seriously. And that's when I started sparring more. And like, but it was honestly really in the last year I got like way more serious, like started training more regularly. So, yeah.
And now a big part of your life has been taken over by Muay Thai. Do you see that continuing? Is this just a phase? What are your plans for?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think like when I started, like when I decided I wanted to have a fight, it was not with the intention of like I'm gonna be a fighter and make it like my career. Like I kind of knew that wasn't necessarily for me. Like I'm maybe not built for it, or like I don't know. But I'm trying to think of now ways that I can like bring Muay Thai into my life in like a different way, or like things that I can do like similar to what you're doing. Like I want to find a way like back home to work with like women in Muay Thai, or like kind of figure out like a niche and like a way that I can like help or like bring something different to the community, because I think it's like really great and like a good way for women to like learn self-defense, like gain confidence, meet people. Like I think it's a great community builder. And so like I'm kind of thinking about and talking to some of my friends, like what could we do, like what does the community need, you know?
Yeah. You said that you're not built for it.
Yeah.
So when do you think it changed from I'm not built for this to I'm gonna fight? Like I know you got kind of put in that situation, but you still there's a bit of a process.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess I always thought that I would be too scared or too anxious to do it. And then like the reason I like did it the first time, like my coach at home asked us all like, what's your reason for fighting? Because he kind of wanted to know like if it's just like, he said he's had some guys answer like to get girls or whatever, and he's like, okay, you're not gonna fight for me then, because I only want you to do it for the right reason. And I said that I wanted to prove to myself that I can, and I was like, I'm gonna do it one time and go from there. You know, I'm not gonna put any pressure on myself to be like, okay, well now we need to have all these fights or whatever.
How do you feel after your fight?
I was disappointed in myself because I like, my thing going into both was like I never want to like walk out of the ring feeling like I should have or could have done more, and I did feel that way. So as soon as I walked out of the ring, I cried, and everyone was like, stop. But I was just like, one, just like exhausted. It was just like a release of like energy and emotions, and two, like I felt like I wanted to do more, but like fear a little bit was holding me back, like about getting hurt or whatever. So I hope that like I'd like to have at least one more fight while I'm here. So I'm here for about another 6 weeks, I guess, 5 or 6 weeks. And I hope that I can like overcome that a little bit and like come back a little bit stronger. And I'm trying not to be hard on myself about that, like about not, I don't want to say I didn't give 100% because I like wanted to. I was just very like timid kind of. And so I want to like come back in better.
It's like stepping in the ring is like a fight in itself.
Just going in there.
Getting in the ring.
Yeah.
Never mind having a hard opponent and going through a 5-round battle.
Yeah.
Has it helped with your confidence in Muay Thai?
I think so. At first it like made me feel bad, like shameful or something that like I didn't win or whatever, but then I thought about it and I was like, I had one fight, and the girl I fought, I don't know how many she has, but it is a lot more than one. It is like obviously double digits, but like, so like when I kind of stepped back and looked at it and was like, at home I would never be fighting someone with like 50 whatever, however many fights. So
probably
like
more than that.
I think it's, I don't know, gotta inquire. Like she fights like multiple times a week, you know, and I had fought one singular time with gear. So I'm like, when I look at it that way, I'm like, wow, I did that and I went 5 rounds. I didn't get knocked out, thank God, like just for like public embarrassment's sake. Like, so like I feel good that like that people told me that it looked like a competitive match. It wasn't like a blowout, where I was just like, you know, I was tired, but I didn't feel like when you see people and they're like clearly very fatigued. Like I didn't want to look like that, and so I just, you know, kept going, whatever, and the adrenaline definitely helps, and training here.
Someone who wants to start self-defense, they're too scared, they look at the gym and everyone's hitting pads and going hard, what would you say to them?
I think that it can be extremely intimidating to come into a gym. Like I had that experience, and I felt like because I was with my partner at the time and he had experience, like people viewed us very differently when we walked into the gym. Like they saw him, who's really experienced and whatever, and like charismatic, and I was like shy and new, so it like just wasn't good. And so, you know, I think one is to like find a space where you feel comfortable. Like I went to gyms back home in New York where like I immediately didn't feel comfortable. They didn't make me feel welcome as a beginner or as a woman. I went to one where it was all guys, it was like 20, 25 guys, and then me, and they rotated who had to be my partner, and that felt really bad because I wasn't even like I'm not even that horrible at that point. Like I at least had some skill. So that was like felt shitty, but it's like you don't have to put yourself through that because there are gyms out there that are gonna make you like feel good and feel welcome. So I think like one is just like finding the right space and finding the right people too. Like some people in the gym and every gym are gonna be dicks. Like it's just kind of the way it is. Because it's like how it is. Yeah, it's like it's in any situation. There's always gonna be people that are like kind of crappy. But to like find people that you connect with or feel comfortable with, and like it's okay to like, you know, don't be afraid to like ask someone to partner or things like that, or to tell someone like, hey, I'm new, can we go a little light? I'm just kind of learning technique. Like I think advocating for yourself is like really important in general, but like especially as a woman like in Muay Thai.
That's a really good answer. Okay. Why do you think women should learn self-defense?
I think like going back to something that I kind of said before, so I sort of like jumped the gun on this one, but I think that it's made me feel safe in a lot of situations because I think the world is not a safe place for women generally. And I think having that little bit of like security, it just makes you feel more safe and feel more secure, which in turn like is an energy you put out and people like don't fuck with you as much kind of. I mean, they're still going to try, you know, but I think it definitely helps because like that is one place where I can say that I have confidence. It's like I could defend myself, or I feel like good about that, or secure in that way, and that helps me like move through the world like a little differently. And so like I've tried to help, you know, my friends who maybe are a little more nervous, you know, walking around at night or being in different spaces or things like that, like kind of get that as well.
Since people know that you do Muay Thai, do you find people don't fuck with you as much?
It's not even that. It's more, more I think like an energy sort of thing. And I'm not like a big like energy kind of woo-woo person, but just like if I'm walking by myself and if I'm carrying myself with like a little more like confidence or assertiveness, it's different than someone that looks maybe a little more timid or a little more, I don't want to say like a target because ultimately it's never the person's fault. But like, I think it just makes you have a little bit, like carry yourself a little bit differently. And then, you know, whenever you post something on Muay Thai, people are always like, oh, I'm not gonna mess with you. And I'm like, well, don't. Anyway. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add?
I don't know. I just think that like Muay Thai and self-defense, martial arts in general, is just like great for women to do because it just, you know, it builds your confidence. It like helps you find, like especially if you move to a new place, it helps you find community. Even if you like travel, like I'll go to a different Muay Thai gym and like meet people, and like that's always cool. And yeah, I just think it like is something that everyone should at least try. Try.
Relax and try.
My advice: relax, try. No panic.
And don't be sully.
Don't be sully.